When I was broke, I used to pray for money, hope for money, even blame others for not having it. Then I discovered something painful but powerful. Money doesn't respond to hope. It responds to rules. The day I learned those rules was the day my life turned around. Here's what I discovered. Poverty and wealth are both learned. One is taught by neglect, the other by intention. The way you think, the choices you make, and the habits you keep. They are writing your financial story every single day. Most people think the problem is money. No, the problem is how they think about money. Because if you think wrong about it, you'll handle it wrong. And when you handle it wrong, you'll always wonder why it keeps slipping away. Today I want to share something with you, because no one ever told me when I was young. There are rules to money, laws, principles, habits that quietly create wealth if you follow them. By the end of this talk, you won't just understand money a little better. You'll see the world differently. You'll see why some stay broke, why others build wealth, and how you can join the few who do it quietly, intentionally, and for life. So let's begin. Not with hope, but with rules. I've seen many people fall into the trap of envy when they look at those who have achieved financial success. It's a natural reaction. When you see someone living in abundance, driving a nice car, traveling freely, it can stir up feelings of jealousy. But here's what I've learned. Envy is the enemy of progress. When you envy, you blind yourself to the very lessons that could lift you up. You focus on the lifestyle, the flashy things, the end results, but you miss the patterns and principles that created that success in the first place. Wealth isn't some mysterious gift handed out to a lucky few. It's the result of specific choices, consistent habits, and a mindset that can be learned. If you want to change your financial story, you must shift from envy to curiosity. Instead of resenting the rich, become a student of their lives. Understand their journeys, the struggles, the failures, the sacrifices, and the relentless persistence. I remember when I first started learning about wealth, I picked up a biography of a man who had built an empire from nothing. It wasn't the story of his yachts or mansions that caught my attention. It was his daily routines, the decisions he made when no one was watching, the books he read, the mentors he sought, and the way he viewed money, not as an end, but as a tool. You see, the wealthy think differently. They don't just stumble into wealth. They design it with intention. They are deliberate about their education, their networks, and their financial habits. They invest time in learning skills, not just chasing dollars. And here's the secret. That pattern can be replicated by anyone willing to learn. It's not about the lifestyle you see on Instagram. It's about the discipline and strategy behind it. Now, I don't want you to think this is about blind imitation. Studying the wealthy isn't about copying their fashion or mimicking their exact steps. It's about extracting the principles that work. For example, one common thread I've found among successful people is their commitment to continuous learning. They never stop growing. That's why I urge you to read at least one biography or success story this month. Don't skim through it for the glamorous bits. Dive deep into the how and why. What challenges did they face? How did they handle failure? What habits did they cultivate that set them apart? These are the questions you want to answer. Another key is to avoid comparing yourself to them. Comparison can lead to discouragement. Instead, focus on your own journey and how you can apply what you learn to your unique situation. Remember, wealth is not a race, it's a process of growth and development. The rich aren't better people, they just chose to learn differently, to think differently, and to act differently over time. I've met people who felt stuck because they were too busy wishing for what others had instead of investing in their own education and growth. Don't let that be you. Shift your energy from envy to study. Let curiosity fuel your ambition and action. When you understand the patterns of wealth, you empower yourself to write your own financial story. This is how you move from being a spectator in life to a participant. When you study without envy, you open the door to your own success. That's where true wealth begins, not in comparing, but in learning, growing, and applying. So start today. Choose a biography, a story, a mentor, and let their journey teach you. Because wealth is a language, and those who learn to speak it, build it quietly and powerfully. Let that be your first step, and everything else will follow. I want to share something that too many people misunderstand, and it's a confusion that keeps many trapped in a cycle of financial struggle. There's a big difference between being rich and being wealthy. And understanding this distinction will change how you think about money forever. Rich is about income. Wealth is about freedom. It's a subtle difference, but a profound one. When people say they want to be rich, most of the time they're talking about making more money. And yes, earning a higher income feels good. It brings comfort, it can open doors, and it allows you to buy things that make life easier or more enjoyable. But here's the catch. Being rich doesn't automatically mean you're wealthy. I've seen many people with big paychecks or flashy lifestyles who are trapped by their expenses, living paycheck to paycheck, stressed and worried. That's the illusion of being rich without being truly wealthy. Wealth, on the other hand, is the ability to live life on your own terms. It's having the freedom to choose how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. True wealth is about building assets, things that work for you and create income without you having to trade more hours. It's about accumulating freedom, not just dollars. This difference is critical because if you chase income alone, you may find yourself caught in a hamster wheel, working harder, earning more, and spending more without ever truly getting ahead. But if you chase assets that buy you time, you create a powerful shift. Assets are investments, businesses, royalties, rental properties, things that generate income while you sleep, while you vacation, while you focus on what truly matters to you. These assets are your ticket to financial freedom. So how do you apply this? Start asking yourself a simple but powerful question before every purchase. Does this give me freedom, or does it take it away? Is that new car an asset, or is it a liability that demands more insurance, maintenance, and expenses? Is that designer handbag an investment in your future, or a costly indulgence that shrinks your bank account? When you learn to think this way, you stop spending money to impress others or fulfill temporary desires. Instead, you begin to spend money in ways that build your independence and security. In my own life, I've seen the difference clearly. Early on, I thought wealth was about making big money and having fancy things. But over time, I realized that true wealth was about having choices and peace of mind. When I shifted my focus from buying things that depreciated to buying things that appreciated or produced income, my financial life transformed. I wasn't just rich, I was wealthy. That's what I want for you. Not just to chase a paycheck or a flashy lifestyle, but to build real wealth, the kind that frees you. Wealth that gives you options, time with family, the ability to give generously, and the peace that comes from knowing you're in control. Remember this, rich is temporary, wealth is lasting. Rich is about what you earn, wealth is about what you keep and build. So start today by asking yourself, does this give me freedom or take it away? Let that question guide your decisions, and you'll move from just being rich to truly being wealthy. This is the secret many don't understand, and it's the key to building a life of freedom and abundance. Keep that close, and your financial journey will change forever. I've seen it time and again, people trapped by the idea that wealth is a stroke of luck, a sudden windfall, a lottery ticket waiting to be scratched. But waiting for luck to rescue you is financial suicide. It's a mindset that steals your power and keeps you stuck. I want you to understand that wealth isn't about hoping for a miracle. It's about building habits that guarantee results. I remember early in my own life, I too had moments where I looked for the quick break, the fast buck, the shortcut to success. I thought, maybe this lottery ticket will solve my problems, or perhaps this get-rich-quick scheme will change everything. But those thoughts were traps, illusions that offered hope, but no real progress. It's like planting seeds and hoping a tree will grow overnight. It doesn't work that way. Wealth grows slowly and steadily when nurtured by good habits, discipline, and consistent effort. The harsh truth is that relying on luck is a gamble where the odds are overwhelmingly against you. You may get lucky once in a lifetime, but if you depend on luck, you're leaving your entire financial future to chance. That's no way to live. The rich understand this deeply. They don't wait for a lottery ticket to change their life. Instead, they create a plan, and then they execute that plan daily with persistence and patience. The first step to breaking free from the lottery mindset is to cancel any get-rich-quick schemes you're following, even if they promise instant riches. These schemes often prey on your desperation and dreams, but they rarely deliver. Instead, replace that hope with a real plan based on proven principles. Earn, save, and invest. Start with the basics. Make a habit of increasing your income, no matter how small the increment. Then, discipline yourself to save a portion of what you earn, no matter how little it seems. Finally, put that saved money to work by investing it wisely, allowing compounding to work its magic over time. I urge you to think about your daily habits. What patterns are you following? Are you seeking instant gratification, or are you building habits that will serve you for a lifetime? Wealth is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And like any marathon, it's won by those who keep running steadily, not by those who expect to be handed the trophy at the start. The power of habits is extraordinary. When you create consistent financial habits, they compound into success. Saving $10 today might seem insignificant, but repeated every day and invested wisely, it becomes the foundation of your future wealth. When you stop hoping and start acting, when you trade the lottery mindset for one of purpose and persistence, you take back control over your financial destiny. So, this week, make a promise to yourself. No more chasing luck, no more waiting for a miracle. Build a simple plan. Set small, achievable financial goals. Commit to saving a part of your income. Learn how to invest wisely. And most importantly, do it daily with patience and discipline. Remember, it's not magic that creates wealth. It's consistent, wise choices made every day. Stop relying on chance and start relying on change, the change you create through your own actions. That's how real, lasting wealth is built. I want to share with you a truth that's simple but life-changing. If you wait to save what's left after spending, you'll never have anything left to save. This is a principle so many overlook, yet it's the foundation of lasting financial success. Paying yourself first isn't just good advice. It's a non-negotiable rule for anyone who wants to build wealth quietly and steadily. Early on, I learned this lesson the hard way. Like many, I used to spend what I earned without a plan, hoping something would remain at the end of the month to stash away. But it rarely did. Life's expenses, temptations, and emergencies swallowed whatever I hoped to save. It's a vicious cycle that keeps people trapped in financial struggle. If you want to break free, you must flip this order. Make saving your priority, your first commitment, before anything else. Think of saving as a bill that must be paid each month, one you owe to yourself. Just as you prioritize rent, utilities, or groceries, you must prioritize your financial future. Set aside a fixed percentage of every dollar you earn, somewhere between 10 to 20%, before you even consider spending a dime on anything else. Treat this saving as sacred. When it's automatic and non-negotiable, it builds a financial cushion that grows quietly over time. I remember when I first implemented this rule, I set up automatic transfers, so the money was taken out before I saw it. Out of sight, out of mind, and it worked. Without effort, I started building a safety net and capital for investments. It wasn't always easy. Sometimes it felt like a sacrifice. But those sacrifices paid off by giving me peace of mind and a growing sense of control over my financial life. When you pay yourself first, you're also sending a powerful message to your subconscious mind. You're telling yourself that your future matters. You're training your brain to think differently about money, no longer as something to spend carelessly, but as a tool to build freedom and opportunity. Some people might say, I can't afford to save right now. To that I say, start small. Even saving a small percentage is better than none. The habit matters more than the amount. Over time, as your income grows, so should your saving. And remember, it's easier to build wealth consistently than it is to chase quick wins that often lead to disappointment. I've seen countless examples of people who changed their financial trajectory simply by committing to pay themselves first. They found that with discipline, the rest of their expenses adjusted naturally. Wants were replaced by needs, impulsive buys gave way to thoughtful spending, and anxiety about money began to fade. So, today, make a commitment. Before you pay any bill, before you buy anything, pay yourself. Make saving the first expense you budget for. Treat it like a sacred duty, a promise to the future you. When you do this, you're not just setting money aside, you're building your confidence, your independence, and your wealth. Remember, wealth doesn't come from what you earn, it comes from what you keep and grow. Pay yourself first, always. This is the rule that turns income into lasting wealth. There's a lesson that many overlook when it comes to building lasting wealth. You must learn to love boring money. Now, I know that doesn't sound thrilling. When people think about money, they often imagine fast cars, big wins, or dazzling deals. But the truth is, excitement has no place in your investments if you want to grow real, dependable wealth. I've seen it time and again, people chasing the next hot stock, the latest cryptocurrency, or the get-rich-quick scheme. They're drawn in by flashy promises and the lure of instant success. But what happens most of the time? The excitement fades, losses pile up, and those dreams turn into disappointment. You see, gambling with your finances might bring a thrill, but it rarely brings stability. Here's the philosophy you must embrace. Wealth is built on patience, consistency, and steady growth. Excitement belongs in your life, in your passions, your family, your personal achievements, not in the volatility of your portfolio. The real money grows quietly, almost invisibly, like compound interest working overtime while you sleep. From my own experience, the biggest financial successes didn't come from taking wild risks or chasing trends. They came from embracing simple, reliable strategies that most people ignore because they're not glamorous. I committed early on to steady contributions in index funds and other proven vehicles, investments designed to grow slowly but surely over time. If you can commit to putting money into these long-term vehicles regularly, without trying to time the market or react to every headline, you'll harness the power of compounding. That's the secret sauce. Small amounts growing exponentially over decades. It's not about the quick thrill, it's about the lasting impact. This approach also removes emotional decision-making from your financial life. When you're not chasing highs or panicking at lows, you protect your wealth from impulsive mistakes. You're building a fortress, not a house of cards. So, here's a practical step. Choose one boring but reliable investment, like an index fund that tracks the overall market, and commit to a fixed monthly contribution. Make it automatic. Ignore the daily noise and watch your wealth grow steadily, year after year. Learning to love boring money is really about shifting your mindset. It's about valuing stability over spectacle, discipline over distraction, and long-term freedom over short-term thrills. When you do this, you put yourself on the path to real financial independence. Remember, the most powerful wealth is quiet, consistent, and patient. Learn to love boring money because that's the money that makes you rich. I've learned over the years that what you measure grows, and when it comes to your finances, this couldn't be truer. A wealth journal isn't just a diary filled with numbers. It's a powerful tool that trains your mind to focus on your financial progress, your habits, and the decisions that lead you closer to freedom. Many people live their lives financially blind. They spend, save, invest, or sometimes waste money without ever stopping to review or reflect. That's like driving a car at night without headlights. You might get somewhere, but you're blind to the road, the obstacles, and the turns you need to take. When I began my journey from modest means to financial independence, I didn't have a financial advisor or fancy spreadsheets. What I had was a simple notebook where I tracked every dollar I earned, saved, and spent. But beyond the numbers, I used that notebook to write down lessons I learned about money, quotes that inspired me, and reflections on choices I made, both good and bad. This process was eye-opening. It made abstract ideas concrete. It transformed vague hopes of wealth into measurable progress. Philosophically, a wealth journal shifts your mindset from reaction to intention. Instead of letting money slip through your fingers, you begin to take conscious control. You see patterns emerge. Which habits serve you? Which purchases drain you? And which investments grow your resources? The act of writing makes you accountable to yourself. It turns fleeting thoughts into commitments. Over time, this builds confidence and discipline, two qualities essential for building lasting wealth. Strategy-wise, dedicating just 10 minutes a week to your wealth journal can revolutionize your relationship with money. Write down what you learned. Maybe it's a new insight about budgeting, a tip on investing, or a personal victory like paying off debt. Include your goals, both short-term and long-term, and review progress. When you write about setbacks, don't just complain. Analyze what went wrong and plan how to avoid repeating it. This isn't about self-criticism, but self-awareness and growth. In practical terms, keeping a wealth journal doesn't require complicated tools. A simple notebook, a notes app on your phone, or a spreadsheet works perfectly. What matters is consistency and honesty. For example, if you notice you spent too much dining out, write it down and decide how you'll cut back next week. If you received a bonus or dividend, record it and consider how to reinvest it. Over time, you build a financial narrative that's rich with insights and lessons. Reflecting on my own experience, I remember times when my wealth journal helped me avoid costly mistakes. Once I nearly invested in a too-good-to-be-true opportunity. Before committing, I wrote down the risks and benefits, and the act of putting it on paper illuminated the red flags I had ignored. That journal entry saved me thousands. On the flip side, it also became a place where I celebrated milestones, a month of disciplined saving, a profitable investment, or the payoff of a debt. Those notes kept me motivated during tough times. This practice also builds a valuable habit, lifelong learning. The money world constantly changes, tax laws shift, markets fluctuate, new financial products appear. A wealth journal encourages you to stay curious and informed, making you proactive rather than reactive. If you want to quietly make yourself rich, start today. Get a notebook or open a new document. Spend 10 minutes a week capturing your financial journey, the wins, the lessons, the plans. Over months and years, this journal will be a testament to your growth and a roadmap to your financial freedom. Remember, what you track, you improve. Let your wealth journal be the mirror that reflects not just your money, but your mindset. This is the quiet rule of wealth that few speak about, but those who practice it quietly grow rich and stay rich. Make this commitment to yourself now. Your future wealth depends on the clarity you build today. I want to share something that transformed not only my financial life, but also how I approach everything that matters. The power of compounding. You see, compounding isn't just a fancy term for interest on your savings. It's a universal principle that applies to money, habits, and even knowledge. It's the secret that quietly makes ordinary people wealthy over time, and it's the force behind any lasting success. Philosophically, compounding teaches us patience and persistence. It reminds us that great things are rarely built overnight. Instead, it's the small, consistent actions, repeated daily, that accumulate into massive results. Think about a tiny snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it keeps rolling, it gathers more snow, growing bigger and bigger until it becomes an unstoppable force. Your financial life, your habits, and your learning work the same way. When I was starting out, I didn't have much money, but I had a willingness to learn and grow little by little. Every day I dedicated time to reading, to listening to people who knew more, and to practicing small habits that would improve me. Just like money left to grow in a savings account with interest, these habits and knowledge compounded over time, turning into skills and wisdom that opened doors I hadn't even imagined. The strategy here is simple but profound. Apply the compounding principle in every area of your life. For money, it means investing consistently, even small amounts, and letting interest work in your favor. For habits, it means making small improvements every day. If you read just 1 page a day, that's 365 pages a year. Imagine how many books you'll finish in a decade. For learning, it means showing up regularly, studying a little bit each day, and allowing your understanding to deepen over time. One practical step is to identify one area where you can apply compounding today. Maybe it's setting aside a small sum every week to invest, or committing to 15 minutes daily of personal development reading. Maybe it's focusing on improving your communication skills a little bit every day, or getting just 5% better at your craft month after month. Whatever it is, make it consistent, make it deliberate. In my own journey, I saw compounding at work when I first started writing down my goals and taking small steps toward them daily. Those tiny steps, barely noticeable at the time, gradually built momentum that eventually led to major breakthroughs. Money saved and invested regularly turned into a nest egg, but it was the compounding of daily habits and knowledge that truly made me capable of handling wealth when it came. So don't chase quick wins or huge leaps. Focus on steady incremental growth, because the compounding effect rewards those who are patient and persistent. Let the small choices you make today quietly build a mountain of success for tomorrow. Remember this: the richest people I know didn't get there by chance or luck. They got there by harnessing the power of compounding in their money, their habits, and their minds. Make compounding your lifelong strategy and watch how it changes your life quietly, steadily, and powerfully. I've learned over time that one of the quietest but most powerful rules of wealth is to always be ready. Life is full of opportunities, some small, some monumental, but those who succeed financially have one thing in common. They keep cash on hand to seize these moments when they come knocking. This isn't about reckless spending or frivolous saving. It's about preparing your resources so that when the right chance appears, you can say yes immediately without hesitation. Think about it. Wealthy individuals don't just sit idly by hoping for a lucky break. They create their own luck by positioning themselves in a place where they can take advantage of opportunities. When a business deal comes up, a real estate investment arises, or an unexpected chance to grow their income appears, they have the liquidity to move quickly. This ability to act fast is often the difference between someone who builds wealth and someone who watches it pass them by. This readiness starts with a simple but profound concept. Build an opportunity fund. This is a separate account, distinct from your emergency savings or daily spending money, dedicated solely to grabbing opportunities. Even if you can only add a small amount each month, say $20 or $50, the key is consistency and discipline. Over time, this fund grows, quietly accumulating power while others remain stuck waiting for permission from banks or lenders. I recall in my own journey, there were times when having some cash ready made all the difference. Early on, when an unexpected investment opportunity came my way, I didn't have to scramble or borrow. Because I had set aside a small fund, I could act with confidence and without stress. That move opened doors I never imagined and accelerated my financial growth. The lesson was clear. Money on the sidelines is money working, not just sitting idle. The philosophy behind this is simple but profound. Wealthy people understand that money is not just for spending. It's a tool to be wielded. When you have an opportunity fund, your money becomes a sword, not a chain. It frees you to pursue growth instead of forcing you to say no out of fear or scarcity. But building this fund requires discipline. It means committing to save before spending on non-essentials. It means treating your opportunity fund as sacred, not dipping into it for everyday wants. This discipline cultivates a mindset of abundance. believing that you can create and capture wealth because you have the means ready at hand. This principle also teaches patience and preparation. Wealth is rarely built overnight. It's about small, consistent actions that prepare you for bigger moves. Even if you can only add a little each month, the compounding effect over years is tremendous. It's like planting seeds for a harvest you'll reap when the right moment comes. Financially, this practice shields you from the frustration of missed opportunities. Many people look back with regret on investments or deals they couldn't make simply because they lacked ready cash. Don't let that be your story. Prepare ahead so you can say yes to growth and no to missed chances. In practical terms, start today. Open a dedicated savings account labeled Opportunity Fund. Automate transfers so that you never have to think twice. Just let the money build. Look at your budget and cut one small luxury or wasteful expense. Redirect that amount into your opportunity fund. Small sacrifices now can open huge doors later. More importantly, cultivate the habit of scanning life for opportunities. Not every chance is gold, but having a fund ready means you can investigate without pressure. Whether it's a side hustle, investment, education, or a new business venture, you'll be empowered to act thoughtfully and decisively. In closing, building an opportunity fund is about more than money, it's about mindset. It's a declaration that you're ready to create your own destiny, that you refuse to be caught off guard, and that you respect the power of preparation. Wealthy people don't wait, they prepare, they plan, and when opportunity calls, they answer without hesitation. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how this quiet rule quietly makes you rich over time. I want you to understand this deeply. Your paycheck is not your true measure of wealth. I've seen many people chase bigger paychecks, thinking that more income automatically means more wealth. But the truth is, what you own, the assets you accumulate, minus the debts you owe, tells the real story of your financial health. This is why tracking your net worth is one of the most powerful habits you can develop on your path to financial success. Let me share a little philosophy here. Wealth is not about the flow of money coming in. It's about the balance between what you have and what you owe. Imagine two people making the same income. One spends every dime and racks up debt, while the other carefully invests, pays off liabilities, and builds assets. Which one do you think is truly richer? It's not the one with the bigger paycheck, but the one with a positive and growing net worth. In my own journey, I used to focus too much on how much I was earning each month, feeling good when the paycheck increased. But after a while, I realized that this was a shallow way to measure success. I began to track every asset, my savings, investments, property, and every debt, including loans and credit card balances. By calculating my net worth monthly, I gained a real picture of my financial progress. Sometimes, even when my income stayed flat or dipped, I saw my net worth climb steadily because I was focused on growing assets and reducing debts. The strategy here is simple but transformative. Create a system to track your net worth regularly. You don't need fancy software, just a simple spreadsheet listing your assets on one side and your debts on the other. Update it every month. This act alone will shift your mindset from earning more to owning more. It turns your attention to building things that last and cutting down what drains you. This monthly ritual also uncovers hidden truths. Maybe you're earning well but accumulating debt faster than you realize. Or perhaps you're quietly growing savings and investments without noticing. Either way, it puts you in control because awareness is the first step to change. Some practical advice. List all your assets, from cash in the bank to retirement accounts, real estate, and even valuable possessions. Then list all your liabilities, credit card balances, loans, mortgages. Subtract the liabilities from the assets, and that's your net worth. Watching this number grow over time becomes a powerful motivator. I encourage you to do this every month without fail. Make it a non-negotiable part of your financial routine, just like paying bills or saving money. When you track your net worth, you no longer measure success by the size of your paycheck, but by the strength of your financial foundation. Remember, wealth isn't about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and grow. Focus on what you own, not just what you make. When you embrace this principle, your financial decisions will change for the better. You'll be less tempted by flashy purchases and more motivated to build lasting assets. In the end, tracking your net worth is a simple but profound act of self-respect and responsibility. It shows that you care about your future and that you're serious about building real, lasting wealth. So start today, open a spreadsheet, list your assets and debts, and begin watching your true wealth grow month after month. I've seen so many people struggle with money, not because they lack opportunity or effort, but because they simply don't understand the language of money. You see, money is not just a tool, it's a system governed by rules, laws, and patterns. Those who learn this language gain power, while those who remain ignorant often find themselves trapped in financial struggle. It's like trying to live in a foreign country without learning the language. You might get by for a while, but you'll never fully thrive or understand how to navigate the landscape. The first thing to understand is that money has a grammar and vocabulary. Terms like interest, compounding, inflation, taxes, equity, assets, liabilities. All these words represent concepts that directly affect your financial life. If you don't know these words and what they mean, you'll make decisions blindly, often costly ones. For instance, many people don't realize how taxes eat into their income or investments. Others underestimate how compounding can transform even small amounts into great wealth over time. Ignorance in these areas isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive. From my experience, the road to wealth begins with education, but not the kind of education that requires a fancy degree or complex theories. No, it starts with a commitment to learn one key topic at a time, patiently and intentionally. 1 month, study taxes. How do they work? How can you legally minimize them? What tax advantages exist for investors or business owners? The next month, focus on compounding. Understand how your money can grow exponentially and why patience is a vital part of this growth. Then move on to real estate, learning the benefits, risks, and strategies to build equity. By breaking it down into manageable topics, you avoid overwhelm and build real, actionable knowledge. I remember early on in my life when I began to learn about money, it felt like learning a new language indeed. At first it was confusing, full of unfamiliar terms, but as I committed to learning consistently, the pieces began to fit together. I could see the patterns, understand what actions to take, and more importantly, why those actions mattered. This gave me confidence to make smarter decisions, not just hoping for luck, but using knowledge as my tool. Treat your financial education like you would learning to speak fluently in a foreign country. Daily practice, patience, curiosity, and application. Read books, listen to podcasts, ask questions, and surround yourself with people who know the language. The more you immerse yourself, the clearer money's logic becomes, and the better equipped you are to grow your wealth. The practical step I urge you to take is simple. Pick one financial topic this month and dive deep. It doesn't have to be complicated. Read a book, watch videos, take notes. Make learning a habit as essential as brushing your teeth. Over time, this knowledge will compound like interest, turning small daily efforts into powerful results. Remember, wealth isn't about how much money you make, it's about how well you understand and manage it. Learning the language of money is not just a skill, it's the foundation of your financial freedom. Start today and watch how it changes your relationship with money forever. I've been asked many times about the role money plays in our lives. Is it the ultimate goal, the root of happiness, or something else entirely? Through my years of experience, I've learned that money is not a god to worship. It is a tool to respect and manage wisely. When we place money on a pedestal and allow it to dominate our lives, we lose ourselves. But when we understand that money serves us, and that we must treat it with the respect it deserves, we step into a different kind of power, a quiet strength that builds true wealth over time. Let me share why this matters. Money itself is neither good nor bad. It is neutral. The power lies in how we relate to it. I remember early in my journey, when I had little money and an even shakier understanding of its purpose. I chased money with desperation, hoping it would solve all my problems. But chasing money without respect led me down roads filled with anxiety and poor decisions. I spent impulsively, borrowed carelessly, and felt trapped in a cycle of scarcity. It was a difficult lesson to learn, but one that changed my entire perspective. Money is a servant, not a master. When you see money as your servant, you regain control. You stop reacting out of fear or greed, and instead you make intentional decisions that serve your life's values and goals. This is the foundation of financial success, a healthy, respectful relationship with money. It means you don't worship money, hoping it will make you happy or fill some void. You understand money is a tool, one that can buy you freedom, security, and the ability to contribute to others. So, how do we cultivate this respect? It begins with awareness. Start by understanding what truly matters to you beyond dollars and cents. What values guide your life? Is it freedom, security, family, growth, or generosity? When you clarify your values, you can align your financial choices with them. This alignment creates harmony and reduces the chaos that often accompanies poor money management. In practical terms, this means making decisions not simply based on, can I afford it, but does this align with my values and goals? For example, maybe you value independence and want to retire early. When you face an impulse to buy a luxury item, pause and ask yourself, will this purchase move me closer to independence or pull me away from it? Such questions help you build discipline and a mindset that honors your money as a servant, not a God demanding constant attention and sacrifice. A story from my own life illustrates this well. Early on, I had a modest income and many demands on my finances. I wanted things others had, but I couldn't afford them without stress. So I made a choice. I would live simply, save consistently, and treat every dollar as a tool to build my future. Instead of worshiping money by chasing quick gains or flashy purchases, I respected it by budgeting carefully and investing thoughtfully. Over time, this approach paid off. Not because I earned more suddenly, but because I treated my money with respect and purpose. Respecting money also means understanding it requires management and care. It's like tending a garden. You don't just plant seeds and hope for a harvest without watering and weeding. Similarly, you must pay attention to your finances regularly. Budgeting, tracking, spending, saving, investing, all these are acts of respect. They tell your money, I am responsible for you, I will guide you wisely. This respect extends to how you view debt. When handled carelessly, debt can become a master that enslaves you. But when managed wisely, debt can be a tool, a means to leverage opportunities. The key is to never let debt control your choices or values. Use it thoughtfully, repay promptly, and only for investments that align with your vision. There's also a deeper spiritual and emotional layer here. When you worship money, you attach your self-worth to it. You might believe that your value depends on how much you have or how much you spend. This is a trap. Your worth is intrinsic and separate from your bank account. Respecting money frees you from this false belief. You treat money as a means to live your values and serve others, not as the source of your identity or happiness. One practical exercise that helped me and can help you is to write down your core financial values. Keep them somewhere visible. When you face a spending decision, revisit those values. Ask, is this choice in line with the person I want to be and the life I want to create? Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to say no to distractions and yes to meaningful financial growth. Remember, Respect doesn't mean fear. You don't have to be anxious about money or avoid dealing with it. Instead, meet it with confidence, knowledge, and intention. Study the principles of money. Seek advice from wise sources. And take control of your financial story. Respect allows you to see money clearly as a servant ready to work for your dreams, not a God demanding your worship. When you truly respect money, you develop patience. You understand that wealth is built over time, not overnight. You avoid get-rich-quick schemes because you value steady, disciplined growth. This mindset creates resilience and protects you from costly mistakes born of impatience or greed. Respecting money also prepares you to give generously. When money is a god, people hoard it out of fear. But when it's a servant, you can use it to bless others, to support your family, contribute to causes you care about, and leave a lasting legacy. Generosity is one of the highest forms of respect for money because it acknowledges that wealth is not just for yourself, but for building something greater. In the end, money's role in your life depends on your relationship with it. Worship it, and you become its servant, living in fear, anxiety, and scarcity. Respect it, and you become its master, creating freedom, security, and impact. This shift in mindset, from worship to respect, is the most powerful rule I can share for anyone seeking financial success. It is the foundation that makes all other rules and strategies work. Start here, and you will build wealth quietly, steadily, and with purpose. Respect money. Don't worship it. Let it serve you well. Time. It's the one resource none of us can replenish once it's gone. And yet, so many treat it carelessly, wasting hours as if they'll magically return. I've seen it countless times in my own life and among those I've met. People who watch their money closely, but squander their time freely, unaware that time is the true raw material of wealth. Think about it. Money is simply a tool, an instrument. But time is the canvas upon which all wealth is painted. Without time, your money means nothing. A dollar saved or earned without time to nurture it through learning, investing, or growing will wither away. On the other hand, one focused hour, one disciplined moment can multiply into fortunes, opportunities, and freedom. Early on, I learned this lesson the hard way. When I was starting out, I often wished for more hours in the day. I'd complain about not having enough time to read, learn, or work on my dreams. But the truth was, I wasn't protecting the hours I had. I spent time on distractions, idle activities, and unproductive habits. I was leaking my time like a faulty faucet, and the water, my potential, was disappearing down the drain. The philosophy is clear. Treat every wasted hour like lost income. If you were careless with a $100 bill, you'd be upset. Yet, many casually waste hours without a second thought. But time is far more valuable than money because money can be replaced, time cannot. The strategy to protect your time starts with awareness. For 1 week, track your hours as if they were dollars in your wallet. Write down how you spend every moment. You'll likely discover dead hours, periods when you're not adding value, not learning, not creating. These are the silent thieves, stealing your wealth-building potential. Once you identify these dead hours, the next step is to cut just one of them each day and redirect it towards something that builds your future. That could be learning a new skill, working on a side hustle, reading a book that expands your mind, or even simply planning your next steps toward financial freedom. It's not about doing everything all at once, but about consistently reclaiming small slices of time that add up over weeks, months, and years. I recall a time when I began dedicating 1 extra hour each evening to personal development and business ideas. At first, it felt like a sacrifice, but over time, that single hour transformed my trajectory. It gave me knowledge, sharpened my skills, and opened doors I hadn't even seen before. It's the power of small, intentional time investments. Remember, time is the only thing you truly own. Your money can be lost, stolen, or diminished, but time marches on regardless. Every hour you protect and invest wisely is a step closer to freedom. Every hour wasted is an opportunity lost forever. So guard your time like you would guard a treasure chest full of gold, because in reality it's far more valuable. The rich know this truth instinctively. It's why they manage their schedules with precision and purpose. They understand that wealth isn't just about dollars in the bank, but about the hours well spent cultivating knowledge, building networks, and creating value. If you want to grow financially, start by protecting your time fiercely. Cut one dead hour today. Use it wisely. The wealth you seek is hidden in those moments, waiting for your attention. Time, once lost, never returns. Make sure you don't lose it to distractions or indecision. Protect your time like it's cash, because in truth, it's the most precious currency you will ever have. I've always believed that money, no matter the amount, reflects who we are at our core. If you can't handle $5 with care and respect, you certainly won't handle $50,000 any better. This is a simple yet profound truth. Money magnifies your character. It doesn't create it. It reveals it. Mishandling small amounts is like ignoring the foundation of a house. No matter how beautiful the structure above, it's destined to collapse. In my own life, I remember times when I didn't pay attention to small expenses. Maybe it was a few extra dollars here and there on lunches, snacks, or little impulse buys. Those small leaks seemed insignificant at the moment, but over weeks and months they added up to a considerable drain on my resources. If I wasn't careful with the small, how could I expect to handle the large? The philosophy here is clear. Every dollar deserves your respect. Wealth isn't just about earning a big paycheck. It's about managing every penny wisely. When you build a habit of treating small money with care, you're setting a pattern for bigger sums. You build discipline, mindfulness, and financial integrity. The strategy then is to develop a healthy respect for every dollar, no matter how small. That means you pay attention to your spending habits. You don't dismiss the tiny expenses as meaningless because they quietly shape your financial future. When you treat all money as valuable, you stop the slow leaks in your financial ship and start steering it toward growth and abundance. Here's the practical step that has transformed many lives. Track every single expense for 30 days. Yes, even the $2 coffee, the $5 snack, the $10 parking fee. Write them down or use an app, whatever works for you. At first, this exercise may shock you because you'll see where your money really goes. But with that awareness comes power. I've seen people transform their finances simply by doing this. They realize that the little things add up to hundreds or thousands of dollars they didn't know they were spending. Once they have that insight, they make conscious choices to redirect that money into savings, investments, or debt reduction. It's not about deprivation, it's about empowerment. Respecting small money also shifts your mindset. It's no longer about chasing quick riches or hoping for a windfall. It becomes about building steady, reliable habits. These habits create a strong foundation for wealth, because wealth is not an accident, it's the result of consistent, disciplined actions over time. I encourage you to take this principle seriously. Start today. Track your expenses meticulously for the next month. Observe your habits, be honest with yourself, and then adjust. The power of respect for money, starting with the smallest amounts, will prepare you for managing far larger sums with confidence and wisdom. Remember, small money is the training ground for big money. Treat it well, and you'll be ready when opportunity knocks with bigger amounts. Treat it carelessly, and no matter how much you earn, it will slip right through your fingers. Respect every dollar, and wealth will respect you back. I've learned over the years that willpower alone is a fragile thing. It's a fire that can flicker and fade under the slightest stress or temptation. Relying solely on motivation or self-control to manage your money is like trying to hold water in your hands. It will slip away eventually. The real power, the lasting power, lies in the rules you create and refuse to break. These are your financial guardrails, the framework that keeps you steady when the winds of impulse and distraction blow hard. Philosophically, money management isn't just about occasional bursts of discipline. It's about creating a system that works for you day in and day out. You don't want to constantly negotiate with yourself or face moral battles every time you're about to spend. Instead, you build strong boundaries, clear, simple rules that guide your actions automatically. These rules don't require daily decisions. They become part of your character, your automatic response. In my own life, I found tremendous freedom in adopting hard financial rules. For example, I made a rule to always save first. The moment money arrived, a predetermined portion was set aside, no exceptions. This removed the need to debate or delay saving. It became non-negotiable, like paying a bill. Because of this rule, I built a habit of saving steadily, even when times were tight. Another rule was to never borrow money for wants, only for needs or investments that could generate returns. This saved me from the endless cycle of debt that traps so many people. The strategy here is simple but powerful. Establish financial boundaries so rigid that breaking them feels as absurd as ignoring a stop sign on a busy highway. These rules protect you from yourself, from momentary weakness or external pressure. They provide clarity and confidence, turning financial chaos into order. Practically, you should write down your personal money rules. Make them concise and actionable. Examples might include, I save at least 10% of all income before spending. I never use credit cards for non-essential items. Or, I review my expenses weekly to keep spending in check. These rules will act as your compass, keeping you aligned with your long-term goals no matter what distractions arise. When you live by unbreakable money rules, you reduce stress and increase your financial control. You're no longer subject to whim or mood. Instead, you have a consistent framework that helps you build wealth steadily and securely. Your money decisions become automatic and disciplined rather than emotional and reckless. Remember, wealth is built not by random effort, but by the repetition of wise choices. Willpower fades, but rules endure. Build your financial life on rules you never break, and you'll find the path to lasting prosperity much easier to follow. Your future self will thank you for the discipline you build today. Make your money rules clear, simple, and unbreakable. The power of financial freedom lies in the strength of your boundaries. I want you to consider something deeply. Wealth is not merely a matter of accumulation, it is a reflection of contribution. The richest among us are often those who understand that true prosperity flows not just from what they take, but from what they give. It's a principle as old as time, and yet so few truly live by it. When you learn to give before you consume, you open the door to abundance in a way that's far more powerful and sustainable than any get-rich-quick scheme or selfish pursuit. Philosophically, wealth built on generosity isn't just money in a bank account, it's a force that multiplies. When you add value to the lives of others, whether through your resources, time, or talents, you create a ripple effect that comes back to you in unexpected ways. Giving cultivates trust, builds relationships, and strengthens communities. It plants seeds that, over time, bear fruit beyond just financial return. In my journey, I witnessed this truth firsthand. Early on, money was scarce, yet I made a commitment to give a portion away regularly. I didn't wait until I was rich. I gave when I had little, trusting the principle that giving creates a cycle of prosperity. Every time I gave, even a small amount, I noticed how it shifted my mindset from scarcity to abundance. It made me more mindful of my spending, more purposeful in my financial decisions, and ultimately, more open to receiving. The strategy is to make contribution a deliberate part of your money philosophy. Don't treat giving as an afterthought or something you do only when it's convenient. Instead, see it as a non-negotiable part of your financial plan. This shifts your relationship with money from one of selfishness to stewardship. It's about more than charity. It's about creating a mindset where wealth serves a greater purpose. Practically, this means committing to give a small percentage of your income regularly, whether that's 1%, 5%, or 10%. Even if your finances feel tight, this practice teaches discipline and faith. It forces you to prioritize, cut unnecessary expenses, and manage money more carefully. Over time, this habit cultivates a mindset where wealth isn't just for you, it's a tool to uplift others. When you contribute before you consume, you tap into a deeper source of wealth. It's a wealth that transcends dollars and cents. It's wealth of spirit, purpose, and legacy. The more you give, the more you align with the natural laws of abundance. You begin to attract opportunities, people, and resources that help you grow because you're no longer just a taker, you're a giver. Remember, those who build lasting wealth don't do so by hoarding. They do so by sharing and adding value first. Make contribution a cornerstone of your financial life, and you'll find that prosperity follows naturally, quietly, and steadily. Your journey to richness isn't just about growing your bank account, it's about growing your heart and your impact. The truth is simple. Contribute before you consume, and watch your wealth and your life transform in ways you never imagined. When I reflect on the journey to financial success, one truth stands out. Working isn't just about earning a paycheck. Far too many people trap themselves in the cycle of trading time for money, focused only on the immediate reward. But real wealth is created when you view work as a classroom, where every task is an opportunity to learn something valuable, something that will pay dividends long after the money hits your bank account. The philosophy here is simple but profound. Jobs give you paychecks, lessons give you fortunes. A paycheck can put food on the table today, but the skills you develop through intentional learning build a foundation for a lifetime of abundance. The richest people aren't necessarily those with the highest salaries. They're those who have invested in themselves, who have acquired knowledge, experience, and abilities that money alone can't buy. Early in my life, I had to work jobs that didn't pay well, but I made a conscious choice to treat every role as a stepping stone. I didn't just clock in and clock out. I asked questions, took on challenges, and sought out mentors. I said yes to opportunities that stretched me, even if the pay wasn't attractive at the moment. Because I understood something crucial. The skills and lessons I gained would open doors far bigger than the paycheck itself. The strategy then is to value the skill, not just the wage. When you're starting out, or even when you're established, prioritize growth. This might mean taking on a challenging project, enrolling in a course, or learning a new technology or leadership technique. Each step forward adds to your capacity, making you more valuable and opening pathways to higher income and greater freedom. Practically, you can apply this today by identifying one opportunity to stretch yourself, maybe a task that intimidates you or a class that seems just out of reach financially. Say yes to it, knowing that the investment in yourself will pay off many times over. Don't focus only on what you'll earn immediately. Focus on what you'll learn. Remember, if you focus solely on earning, you may get stuck in a paycheck-to-paycheck mindset. But if you focus on learning, you're building assets within yourself, intangibles that no market crash or economic downturn can take away. These assets will serve you for the rest of your life, allowing you to create, innovate, and command opportunities others can't reach. The secret to lasting financial success is not just working hard, it's working smart. Working to learn, not just to earn, is the difference between a job and a career, between surviving and thriving. So embrace the lessons in every role, seek out growth, and watch as your financial landscape changes, not just in dollars, but in the wealth of knowledge, experience, and confidence that leads to true freedom. Your paycheck is temporary, your skills are permanent. Invest in them wisely, and your fortune will grow beyond anything you can imagine. When we talk about wealth, too often our minds jump straight to numbers, figures in a bank account, investments growing steadily, or possessions we can showcase. But true financial success goes far beyond the dollars we accumulate in our lifetime. Real wealth is about creating something lasting, something that outlives us and continues to make a difference long after our names are forgotten. That is the essence of leaving a legacy. The philosophy is this: wealth isn't just about you or your comfort today. It's about building a foundation so strong that it supports future generations, your family, your community, and even strangers you'll never meet. Real wealth creates ripples that spread far beyond the moment you acquire it. It's a commitment to thinking bigger, to transcending the immediate gratification of income and focusing on impact that lasts. Many people live paycheck to paycheck, or even wealth to wealth, never pausing to consider what remains when their time is done. I've seen individuals who amassed fortunes, yet left little behind except tax problems and debt. Contrast that with those who used their wealth to build schools, fund scholarships, start businesses that employ others, or simply instill values of discipline and generosity in their children. That kind of wealth endures. So the strategy is clear. Shift your mindset from income alone to impact. Ask yourself, quote, what can I build, give, or create that will keep serving others when I'm no longer here? This can be as grand as establishing a foundation, or as simple as mentoring a young person with care and wisdom. It can be setting up financial systems that protect and grow resources for your descendants, or cultivating habits of integrity and hard work in those around you. The practical step I encourage is this: identify one thing, big or small, that you want to be your legacy. Maybe it's starting a family tradition of saving and investing wisely, or contributing to a charity that resonates with your values. Perhaps it's writing down your financial principles to pass to your children, or creating a side business that continues to provide for your family long after you step away. In my own life, I learned early that wealth isn't just about what you keep, but what you pass on. I saw firsthand how a strong legacy of discipline, education, and generosity can shape not just a family's bank accounts, but their character and opportunities. That's why I urge you to think beyond yourself, beyond the immediate rewards, and invest in the future you want to create, not just for you, but for those who come after. Leaving a legacy is the highest form of wealth. It requires vision, intention, and a heart committed to something larger than mere accumulation. When you build with this purpose, your wealth becomes immortal. The impact you create echoes through generations, touching lives you may never see but will always influence. So start today. Decide what your legacy will be. Let your wealth not only fill your pockets, but also plant seeds that bloom long after you're gone. Because true success is measured not just by what you earn, but by what you leave behind. As we come to the close of this conversation, I want you to pause and reflect on everything we've covered. Wealth is not a destination. It's a journey paved with intention, discipline, and wisdom. It's easy to get caught up in the numbers, the flashy headlines, or the stories of overnight success, but the truth is far simpler and far more profound. I've said many times before, and I mean it when I say it to you now, your financial destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. It's shaped not by the economy or luck or the job market, but by the decisions you make every single day. The habits you adopt, the mindset you cultivate, and the rules you set for yourself. The small, consistent steps you take. The discipline you practice when no one is watching. If you want to grow wealthy, you must first grow yourself. Wealth will never outpace your personal development. This is not a theory, it's a principle as true as gravity. I know this from my own life. Early on, I struggled financially because I was focused only on earning money, not on becoming the kind of person who could handle money well. It wasn't until I began investing in myself, reading, learning, developing character, and mastering the art of discipline, that my income began to reflect the growth inside me. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens with daily commitments to better yourself, to expand your knowledge, to refine your habits. Commit 30 minutes a day to reading about money, investing, or personal development. You'll be amazed how this small investment of time compounds over weeks, months, and years. The money will follow. The opportunities will come. But growth alone is not enough. You must create systems that serve you. Goals without systems are just wishes. Riches without habits are temporary. When you build automatic systems, automated savings, recurring investments, you create momentum that keeps going even when motivation fades. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary. This is how wealth quietly accumulates while you focus on living your life. And remember, it's not just about making money, it's about making your money work for you. Every dollar should have a job. Think of your money like a soldier on a mission. Send it out to earn more money, to build assets, to multiply itself. Don't let your hard-earned cash sit idle, or, worse, be drained by needless consumption. Learn to distinguish between assets and liabilities. Buy things that put money in your pocket, not things that take money out. Thinking long-term is the secret weapon of the wealthy. While most plan for Friday night, the truly successful plan for the next 10, 20, and 30 years. Write down your vision for where you want to be financially in 10 years. Then reverse engineer the steps you must take starting today. Break it down to weekly actions, daily habits. Wealth is the result of tiny daily choices compounded over time. Tracking your net worth is more important than obsessing over your paycheck. Many people confuse income with wealth, but wealth is what you keep, what you own outright, minus what you owe. Start tracking your assets and liabilities monthly. Watch your net worth grow. If it's shrinking, find out why and fix it. This simple habit brings clarity and accountability, two essentials for financial success. Knowledge is power. Money has rules, and those who don't learn them stay broke. You must treat financial literacy as a language you need to master. Take one topic each month. Taxes, investments, real estate, compounding, and dive deep. The more you understand, the less you fear, and the better decisions you make. Financial ignorance is a luxury no one can afford. Debt is a tool, but like any tool, it can be used wisely or recklessly. Learn to respect debt without fearing it. Differentiate between productive debt, used to acquire assets, and destructive debt, used to buy things that lose value. Commit to paying off destructive debt first. Use debt strategically to accelerate wealth building, not to finance consumption. Time is your most valuable asset. Money can be replaced, but time cannot. Protect it like cash. Audit your day, cut out distractions and dead hours. Invest that reclaimed time in learning, creating, or side projects that build wealth. You have the same 24 hours as the richest people on earth. How you use those hours determines your outcome. Never outsource all your financial thinking. Advisors can guide you, but blind trust is dangerous. Learn enough to question advice and make informed decisions. Spend time understanding fees, contracts, and investment principles. Be the captain of your own ship. Learn to say no without guilt. Every unnecessary expense or commitment is a no to your future freedom. Guard your money, your time, and your energy fiercely. Saying no to the small things creates margin for the big things that truly matter. Treat small money with big money respect. If you mishandle $5, you'll mishandle 5,000. Build respect for every dollar. Track every expense. This habit builds financial integrity and discipline that pays dividends in the long run. Set money rules you never break, rules that take the burden off your willpower. Write them down. I save first. I don't borrow for wants. I invest regularly. When temptation comes, your rules guide you. Contribute before you consume. True wealth is built by givers. Make generosity a core part of your financial plan, no matter how small the amount. Giving expands your heart and opens the door for more blessings. Work to learn, not just to earn. Jobs give paychecks. Lessons give fortunes. Say yes to projects or courses that stretch you, even if the immediate pay isn't great. The skills you build become your real wealth. Think like a steward, not an owner. Wealth is not just about possession, but wise management. Review your finances weekly. Ask yourself, am I caring well for what I have? Stewardship multiplies what's entrusted to you. Finally, leave a legacy bigger than your name. True wealth outlives you. It's about the impact and freedom you create for those who follow. Decide today what legacy you will build, not just in dollars, but in values, opportunities, and love. Now, as we close, I want you to understand this. No matter where you are financially right now, you have the power to change your story. It starts with a decision, a shift in mindset, and consistent action. Wealth is not a mystery reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It is the reward of those who learn, apply, and persist. So here is my call to action. Begin today. Write down your financial vision. Choose one habit to start building immediately. Maybe it's tracking your expenses, reading for 30 minutes a day, or setting up an automatic savings plan. Commit to learning one new thing about money each month. Protect your time like the treasure it is. Say no to one unnecessary expense this week. Find a way to contribute, even in a small way. Remember, the road to financial freedom is a marathon, not a sprint. It's made up of small, smart choices, compounded day after day. Be patient, be disciplined, and above all, be intentional. Your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. So step into your power, take control, and start building the life of wealth and freedom you deserve. This is your moment. This is your time. The journey to real wealth begins now.